Today's video is all about super easy but delicious dump and go crock pot recipes. Hey y'all, I'm Sammy and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be sharing 10 ultimate, unbelievable, but easy dump and go crock pot recipes that are perfect for fall or any time of the year. Because let's face it, crock pot is my favorite thing to use in the kitchen. So sit back and relax, grab you some tea, and let me do all the cooking. Come on, y'all, let's go. All right, so starting out, we're going to make a lasagna soup. Now, this one will warm you to your soul. It is so good, but so easy to make. So let's go ahead and get this put right on in the crock pot. So into a 7-quart sprayed crock pot, I've got 1 pound of ground beef. I used a lean ground beef. We are going to add in 1 jar of drained roasted red peppers. Then we will add in 1 normal can. I think it's a 12-ounce can of diced tomatoes, a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 1 small yellow onion diced up. We're going to season that up with about a teaspoon of Badia Complete and 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Now you could always adjust these if you want more or less. Then you will add in 2 tablespoons of garlic, and we're going to add in 4 cups of beef broth right in there. Now, I just used the beef bouillon granules and made my own beef broth, but if you had some in a container, go ahead and use that. You'll pop that lid on it and let it cook on low for about 4 hours, just to let all the flavors combine. And then you will get your lasagna noodles. I used a full 16-ounce box of the lasagna noodles, and all I did was just break those into small little pieces right here and dump them on in. Now, after each about 5 or 6 noodles, I would give it a stir in between, and that way I just made sure that all those noodles were kind of broken up and none of them were stuck together. Once you have the noodles in there, you'll go ahead and put that lid on there and let that cook for about 20 minutes on low, and you'll see how well these noodles have absorbed that liquid and they got nice and tender, but they still had a little bit of a bite to it, which is perfect. That's what you want for this, because you want leftovers for days. All you have to do is just top it with a little bit of mozzarella cheese, some ricotta cheese, and some Parmesan. And you could always put whatever cheeses you want. And I also added some basil right to the top of it. Y'all, this was absolutely amazing. That is why it's number 1. Definitely give this one a try. And if you like what you see so far, do me a favor and go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become part of my YouTube family. Next up, we're going to make a chicken bacon ranch pasta. All of my favorite flavors in one dish, and it's pasta. Can't beat it. Into a 7-quart sprayed crock pot, we've got about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast right into the bottom. We're going to season that up. I've got some salt and some pepper, about a teaspoon each, but just please season it to taste. If you can't have salt, leave it out. Then we're going to add in some onion powder and some paprika, and I believe I put garlic powder in there as well. Next, we'll add 1 whole package of the dry ranch mix, along with 1 jar, I think it's 22 ounces or 24 ounces of Alfredo sauce. Whatever is your favorite kind will work. I did go ahead and put a little bit of water into that jar and just shook it up to get all of that out and to help make more of a sauce for the pasta later. Now we're going to add in a big old heaping helping of garlic. Y'all know I love my garlic over here. I like to keep the vampires away, so I use about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Then you will add in a 1/4 cup of chopped up bacon, or you could use the bacon bits like I do. Pop that lid on that crock pot and let that cook on low for about 5 to 6 hours. Just depends on how your crock pot cooks. Now, while that's cooking up in the last 30 minutes or so, go ahead and just boil your noodles to the box directions. And I always started this when I went to chop this meat up. That way my noodles would be done by the time it was added on in there. So once you have that meat chopped up, you will add in 1 cup of the mozzarella cheese. You could shred up your own cheese if you wanted to, but this is just what I had on hand, so I went ahead and used it. Give that a good old stir together, and now this is where you're going to add in your pasta. I cooked it to al dente, and then we will just give that a nice stir through, and always reserve some pasta water as well. That way, if it's too thick, you can add some of that water back into it to help make that sauce nice and creamy. So we just served this up with a little bit more of the shredded cheddar cheese right on top. I added some more bacon bits and some basil on top, y'all. When I tell y'all this is probably one of the best meals I've had in a long time, I ain't kidding. Go ahead, run to your kitchen and your pantry and see if you've got the ingredients to make this, because it's going to become a family favorite. It was amazing, y'all. So cheesy. Goodness in a plate right there. This is one of my own recipes. I call it apple cued chops. Now I used thick cut pork chops for this, but I'm sure you could use the thinner cut and just cut the tom down. So I got 4 thick cut chops right into my 7-quart crock pot right here. It is sprayed, and we're going to season that on up with some caramelized onion butter by Kinder's. Also some brown butter roasted garlic seasoning. I always get that confused. And some bourbon peach seasoning. Y'all, these are amazing. Now, I use the hickory brown sugar along with some apple jelly. So I'm starting out with about a 1/2 cup of apple jelly right into a bowl. And we'll just kind of chop that up to make it easier to blend with that barbecue sauce. Now, with the sauce, I used probably about 1 cup of barbecue sauce. And I gave that a good old stir together. And then that's when we'll go right over to the crock pot with that nice little bowl and just drizzle that right over top of those chops. Oh, the smell while this was cooking, y'all. It was amazing. I did add about a 1/2 tablespoon of butter to each of those, and then we topped them off with some garlic, just enough on each, each chop. Just a nice little sprinkle of garlic. Then we'll pop that lid on it and let it cook on low for about 5 hours. Then we will take that lid off, and I'm just going to kind of move them around here just to make sure, none of them stuck together, and to see how they were cooked. And these literally melted in our mouths. Now, I fixed some cheesy rice, some steamed corn, and some spinach to go with it. And this was the perfect weeknight meal. It was so easy to put together. Hey, if you're liking what you see so far, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. Leave me a comment below and subscribe if you want to. That way you'll have all these yummy recipes to try with your family. Next up, we're going to make some beef tips and gravy. This is another recipe that I've come up with. I'm trying to type out all of my recipes. I'm in the works of a cookbook. So into a 7-quart crock pot, I've got about 3 pounds of stew meat right into the bottom. We're going to season that up with about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of Badia Complete. We're also going to put some caramelized onion butter by Kinder's and some black garlic by Badia. Then we'll take 1 packet of the beefy onion soup mix right to the top, 1 can of the beef consomme, and we will also take 1 packet of brown gravy mix, drizzle that right over the top, or pour it. 1 normal size can of drained mushrooms, 1 can of French onion soup mix goes right over top of all that, and I threw in a can of cream of mushroom as well, just to kind of give it that creamy gravy flavor. Oh, this was so good, y'all. I'm so excited to put this cookbook together. It's going to take me a little bit, but I promise it is in the works. You put the lid on it and let that cook on low for about 8 hours. Once you get home, you'll just kind of break up all those beef pieces and just make sure that your gravy is very well mixed. And I just made some quick smashed potatoes. I did a garlic parmesan potato. I'll see if I can find a similar recipe down below. But I just served that right over the potatoes, and I topped it with a little bit of parsley for some color to make it look all pretty. Plus, it adds flavor. This was so good and such a Southern comfort meal. Delicious. Next up is an idea for Taco Tuesday. We're going to make some taco chicken and rice right in the crock pot, but we're going to do it the easy way. Time saver for sure. Into a 7-quart sprayed crock pot, I have got about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast right into the bottom. We're going to season that up with a little bit of this adobo seasoning, probably about a teaspoon. Next, we'll come in with some Badia Complete, probably about 2 teaspoons of that, and then 1 packet of taco seasoning. I'm using the cheesy taco, but you can use whatever your favorite one is. 1 can of cream of chicken right over the top of all of those, and I just kind of spread that out as best I could, just to see, make sure all the chicken's got it. Then we will add in 1 can of mild Rotel. Pop that lid on that crock pot and set it on low for about 4.5 to 5 hours. Then we'll go ahead and just chop up that chicken. This meat masher is the best thing to use in your crock pot because you don't have to worry about breaking the crock with a mixer or anything. And you don't have to worry about scratching it. Now this is the time-saving part right here. I just got the microwavable Spanish rice and I just heated that up per package directions and then dumped both of those packages right on in there, and then I just broke it apart with a fork. And once it was broken apart enough, I just went ahead and gave that a good stir together before we added in the cheese. I've got about 2 cups of cheese going in here. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's cheesy taco rice, so I mean, come on. Stir that all in there, and then we will top it with the other 1/2 cup to 1 cup of cheese, and pop that lid on it so that cheese will melt down nicely with the heat that's in there. Then we'll just serve that on up, and I want y'all to look at this. Oh my, this was so good. I kind of served this up like as a nacho style in a way. I just topped it with some sour cream and some taco sauce and some diced up tomatoes, and I put some tortilla chips on the side right there to where you could just kind of scoop it on up. It would also really be good with some Frito scoops too. But this was so good, and it's definitely an easy recipe and something different to make for Taco Tuesday. Next up, we're going to make some chicken and dumplings right in the crock pot the very easy way. I think my mama used to make these as well, but she always did hers on a stovetop. So into a sprayed 7-quart crock pot, I've got a mix of chicken breast and chicken thighs that I just put on in there. We're going to season these on up with about a teaspoon of nature seasoning and Badia Complete. Then we will add some buttery garlic and herb by Kinder's to it. Y'all know I love them. And some of this roasted chicken and herbs from Kinder's, along with some salt and pepper to taste. Probably about a 1/2 teaspoon of each. Now we're going to add in a small diced onion and 2 large carrots shredded. And I'm going to use a quart of my home canned chicken broth. But you could use any kind you want. And then I just took that quart jar and filled it right on up with some water and dumped that right on in there as well. Then we'll give that a good old stir together just to make sure that chicken is broken up in there. And we're going to add in a can of cream of chicken and 1 can of cream of onion soup right on into that crock pot. Then we will stir that together. The best way I've found to do this is just to take a whisk and kind of break that soup on up in there. And then you'll see that it incorporates nicely on into that broth. And then you can put your lid right on top of it. Now, cooking time is going to depend on how much meat you have in there. But I had about 1.5 pounds, and I cooked this on low for, I would say, about 4 hours. And then I come in here and I broke that chicken on up just to make sure, of its tenderness and if it was done. Then we will take 1 can of the Grand's flaky style biscuits, but you don't have to use the flaky style. If you have just the buttermilk biscuits, that'll work too. I just cut these up into small little pieces and I just put them right on into that hot broth in there. Give that a good stir together, and then I just pop the lid right back on, and it cooked for about another 20 to 30 minutes. And then you will see here that the broth kind of got thickened up because of those biscuits, and they were cooked up so nice in there. It was absolutely delicious. But I decided to go ahead and add in a little bit of heavy whipping cream. So I used about a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of that cream, just to give it a little bit more creaminess throughout those chicken and dumplings, because that's what I'm used to. Then I just served it up with some parsley right on top, and y'all, this was amazing for an easy and quick way to make chicken and dumplings if you don't have the time, or if you just want something ready by the end of the day. Give this one a try. Moving right along, we're gonna make my creamy Southwestern chicken chili. This is a mixture of a couple different recipes. So into a sprayed 7-quart crock pot, I've got 2 large chicken breasts in there. We're going to season that up with some Kinders, wood-fired garlic, such a good one, and some buttery poultry seasoning. I was almost out here, so I just used what I had left in there. It was probably about a teaspoon. Then you will add in some pepper and some salt to the mix. Just season that to taste. I used probably about a half a teaspoon. Then you will top each chicken breast with about a teaspoon each of chili seasoning and cumin right over the top. We'll add in 1 can of undrained corn and 1 can of chili beans right on in there, along with, and I don't drain any of these, 1 can of black beans because I think it adds to the flavor of the chili, and 1 can of the fire roasted diced tomatoes right on over the top. Then we're going to add in 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, and we're going to put about another 2 teaspoons of chili powder right on top, and about another teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of cumin on top of that as well. I didn't have chili seasoning, but y'all could have used it if you wanted to. And then I added about another teaspoon of that wood-fired garlic before adding in 1 quart of vegetable stock right into that crock pot. We'll go ahead and put that lid on it, and y'all, this will cook all day. So you can put it on there for 6 to 8 hours while you're at work. I did the 8 hours while I was at work, and then I just come home and cut that chicken on up using my little handy dandy meat masher right there, and just made sure that that was broken up. And then once I had the chicken, I started working on that block of cream cheese to get it incorporated into that chili. Now you can see it is all nice and creamy right here. Oh, y'all, this is so delicious. Y'all have to give this one a try. But if you want to do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well and become part of my YouTube family. I would love to have y'all. And here I am just serving it up with some crushed tortilla chips and some more cheese right on top, and a little bit of sour cream as well if you wanted, but I just like the chips and the cheese. Give that a good old stir together. Now, don't that just look delicious? This is amazing. Give it a try, y'all. You won't be disappointed. Another recipe of mine is this cheesy hash and sausage, if I can talk right today. This is so quick and so easy to put together, but it is definitely belly filling and rib sticking good, let me tell you. So I've got 1 can of cheddar cheese soup, 1 can of cream of onion soup, and 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. Got me a bowl right here. We're just going to put all 3 cans of those soups in here, and we're going to give it a nice mix together. Now, this is the tricky part. I went ahead and added in a cup of beef broth to this, but I honestly don't think it needed it. So just to be cautious, if you want it on the thicker side, don't add that the vegetable broth that I did. Like I said, I added a cup to it because I thought it would need it. This is the first time I ever made it, so just being honest here. It did turn out to be a little bit on the soupier side, so make sure you cut back on that, or you don't even have to put it in there. Now, into a sprayed crock pot, we put in half of that 32-ounce bag of the diced hash browns, half of our soup mixture, and then we're going to put in half of our chopped up sausage right there. We'll give that a nice season with this nature seasoning, the Kinder's caramelized onion butter, and then we're going to take about a cup to a cup and a half of that shredded cheese right there, and then you just repeat the layers until you get to the top of it right there. Once you're are at the top, if I can talk right. I swear I'm losing my words. I finished it off with another layer of, what was left of the soup mixture. Then we topped it off with mo cheese, because y'all know mo cheese, mo better. Y'all knew it was coming, right? I did sprinkle a little bit of pepper right on top before placing that lid on it and letting it cook on low for 4 hours. This was absolutely amazing. The potatoes were cooked perfectly. That sausage gave so much flavor through it, and you can't beat the cheese. So y'all can see right there how it is a little bit more soupier. That's why I was telling y'all to lessen the liquid, or you don't even have to put it in there. But that's how you come up with recipes, right? It was delicious either way, and I hope y'all give this one a try and that you enjoy it. Now, let's move right on into this next recipe, shall we? It is amazing too. Let's make some pizza pasta casserole. Yep, right in the crock pot, and it is amazing. Thank you, Erin, so much for sharing this one with me. It is amazing, and it's definitely a family favorite. Into a large bowl, I've got 1 pound of ground beef, along with 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, a 6-ounce can of tomato paste going right on in there. Then we will add a 24-ounce jar of marinara, and we'll give that a good old stir through just to make sure that it is all combined, because you don't want to, have big old chunks of tomato paste on in there, but you do want it to be thicker because of how it cooks in the crock pot. Into a sprayed 8-quart crock pot, I've got some rotini pasta that I just cooked to package directions. We're going to do this in layers as well. So about 1/3 of those pasta noodles goes down, along with 1/3 of the sauce. We will spread that out, and then we're going to add in 1/3, you guessed it, of the pepperonis right on top of that. Then we're going to top it with some mozzarella cheese. I used probably about 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup on each layer. Then we'll just repeat those layers until we get to the top. I've just put it in some fast, super high speed motion here for y'all, so we can get to the top pretty quick. If it was this fast to put together, which it was, but not that fast. I finished it off with some cheese, and then I decided to put the pepperoni on top of the cheese this time instead of having it underneath. It looks prettier while it's cooking, and plus I just like a little extra pepperoni on top. So you'll pop that lid right on top, and we'll cook that on low for about 4 hours. And this is going to be cooked perfectly, y'all. I should say low for 2 to 4 hours, because everything's already cooked. I think mine cooked and was ready in about 1.5 to 2 hours. Would y'all just look at this yummy deliciousness right here? It was absolutely a favorite. It was definitely a hit, and I will be keeping that on our menu rotation for sure. This was everything you could ask for. If you wanted pasta and pizza and spaghetti, it's all right there, and it was delicious. Now, last but not least, we're going to go and share my creamy potato soup right in the crock pot. I know y'all heard it. I wanted to say creamy tater soup, so that's what we're going to work on today. Into a large 7-quart crock pot, I got a 32-ounce bag of the diced hash browns, 1 can of cheddar cheese soup, 1 can of cream of celery soup, and 1 can of cream of onion soup. 1 block of cream cheese, because you gotta have the creaminess. Then we're gonna season everything up with about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of Badia Complete before adding in 1 quart of my home canned chicken broth. Then we will just pop that lid right over the top of it and set that on low for 6 to 8 hours. And you'll have a good mixture right here. Once you get that stirred together, you'll see how much liquid just that 1 quart makes. You could always add more if you want it on the thinner side, but we like it, thick and creamy like this. So once you have that all stirred together, we're going to add in about 1 cup of heavy whipping cream right to the top of it and give that another stir around just to add that richness to it. Y'all, this is amazing. I will have all these recipes linked down below for you all. If I don't have them typed up, there will be printable links. That way you can have these recipes all to your own. I just seasoned that up, or I just added some cheddar cheese, bacon bits, and green onions right to the top and served it up with some saltine crackers. All right, y'all, that is it for today's video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you give me thumbs ups. Leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button and become part of my YouTube family. It is absolutely free and I would love to have y'all. Plus, you won't have to miss any other delicious recipes that I share. So make sure that bell notification is set to all. If you are looking for some other recipe inspirations, make sure you check out the 2 videos on your screen right now. And if you are in need of prayer, please let me know down below and I would be honored to pray for you all. Until next time, God bless. Bye.